I could correct me if I'm wrong. LeBron didn't know about this.
No, he did not.
The Lakers made a trade to get trading away AD, getting Luka without talking to LeBron. I find that probably the most fascinating piece of this whole thing, that they did not talk to LeBron about this, because, for all of the flack that LeBron gets on social media and everything, I mean, let's be honest, you're typically gonna talk to your guy, hey, we're thinking about doing this.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Hot Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, this is when we make the transition to talk all professional basketball, NBA and WNBA, until football season starts. In segment one, we'll go through the Eastern and Western Conference, and a little trade took place. In segment two, we will dig deeper into the trading deadline. And in segment three, we will talk about the maneuvering the WNBA is making and a little chit chat about Unrivaled. So let's just get to the Eastern Conference. 1's Cleveland, 2 Boston, 3 Knicks, 4 Pacers, 5 Bucks, 6 Heat. Heat still hanging in there. And on the outside looking in, Pistons, Magic, Hawks, and Bulls. And Eastern Conference note, the hottest teams right now are the Pacers and the Knicks, even with last night's loss as we tape on Sunday. Mike, any thoughts on the Eastern Conference, sir?
Just that I'm not going to buy the Knicks hype. They've been playing well. That's fine. But I think we all know who they are. And I think we all know they're number 3. So, yeah, right. They're playing well, but I don't trust them.
Okay. Coach Alfred Johnson with us. Coach, any thoughts on the East this week?
Well, I'm in agreement with Mike definitely about the Knicks. I think they're too predictable. Last night we saw OG go down. I think he's going to be out for a little bit. I really like Cleveland's group. I've said all along, I like how Mobley is infused more into the offense. That makes them a better team in my mind. I do think they are the only team in the East that's going to challenge Boston for winning the East.
Okay. And Robert, Eastern Conference basketball, football is almost over, so I think you might have watched a little bit of a game or two. Any thoughts on the East, sir?
Well, I mean, the top 3 have been the top 3 for a while. And again, I mean, the Knicks play 6 guys, and if Anunoby is out for any period of time, they're going to have to find somebody else, because you can't play NBA games with only 5 guys.
Okay. All right. In Western Conference, number 1 with a bullet, OKC, 2 Houston, 3 Memphis, 4 Denver, 5 Lakers. And we will, unfortunately, Robert, have Lakers talk. At 6 Clippers. Outside looking in, Minnesota, Dallas. That will be included in the Lakers talk. Phoenix and Sacramento. Hottest teams right now. OKC, Houston, Memphis, the Clippers, and believe it or not, the Lakers is one of the hottest teams, but they've made some moves. Mike, any thoughts on the Western Conference right now?
But not talking about the trade?
Segment 2, but feel free to preview your thoughts.
Then yeah, that's a solid ranking. Houston, Memphis, both playing well. Denver had a couple good games. I really like seeing Westbrook's renaissance. That's been fun as a Westbrook fan. But yeah, I'll wait to talk about the West till we get to the good stuff.
All right, Coach Johnson, what's going on? Any thoughts on the West?
Yeah, the West is interesting. I really like Memphis and Houston in terms of the way they're playing as young teams. They really are playing well. I think the young man, the coach of Houston, I think he's coach of the year. I think what he's done in terms of changing the mindset, the culture of that group is unbelievable. I think OKC is by far the best team in the West, and they're doing this without Chet. They just got a nice team, and the way SGA is playing is unbelievable. He is on fire nightly.
They had Wiggins go for 41 yesterday.
Who went for 41 last night?
Wiggins.
Yeah,
They're like eighth best player.
Yes. Oh man, they're a nice team. But I think it's gonna be OKC and Cleveland for the championship.
All right, Robert. Any thoughts on the West, sir?
You know, we talked a lot last year about Denver, and we haven't talked about them at all this year. Like not even a little bit.
Nope.
And they're still hanging around.
Yes, they are.
And they still got Jokic. And you know, that is still a dangerous team. And if I'm OKC, I want them to be either the 3 seed or the 6 seed, because I don't want to see them until the final.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, fans, in segment 2, we're going to talk about it. Big news breaks. Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis swap teams. A lot of noise in the national media. We're going to tone that noise down. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And in segment 2, the NBA trade deadline is 3 p.m. Thursday. This show comes out Wednesday. Lord knows what else is going to happen, but it just dropped in a blockbuster trade. And again, I'm not looking at it as a blockbuster, but that's just me. That will impact the Western Conference balance of power. I don't recall OKC being involved in it. The Los Angeles Lakers, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Utah Jazz agreed to a 3-team deal that will swap Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. The Lakers will receive Doncic, Maxi Kebler, and Markieff Morris from the Mavericks, and Dallas will receive Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. And I think they just got that pick to be able to trade it. The Jazz will receive Jalen Hood-Schifino, the Los Angeles Clippers' second-round draft pick from 2025, and the Mavericks' 2025 second-round selection. So how did we get here? The trade talks were initiated by Dallas, according to sources, and they began a few days ago. The Mavericks and Nico Harris and Rob Pelinka, the Lakers vice president and general manager, have a long-standing relationship dating back to when Harrison was Kobe Bryant's marketing agent at Nike, and Pelinka, as you know, was Kobe's agent. The Lakers front office, ownership crew, and coaching staff were in alignment on the deal, excited to acquire a young superstar in Luka. And hey, this is the deal. So, Mike, I'm going to start with you first because you watch more NBA basketball than all of us. What do you think about the trade, sir?
I think it could be one of the worst trades of all time. I know we disagree, but you don't trade 25-year-old superstars that are that are beloved by the franchise. Beloved. Twitter last night when this broke, like it really was kind of like when like a celebrity passes away, but it's all like hush hush, and everyone's like, no, this can't be true. Like it was wild. It was for something is like, in the grand scheme of things in life, as insignificant as, players just, I'm going to play here instead of here. It really had a somber tone on Twitter, which was interesting. The Lakers, just like they always do, they fall into superstars. They move on to their next superstar, so they're going to be set for their next little 5 to 7 year run after eventually LeBron retires. And the Mavs are built kind of like a team from the 90s. They've got a lot of 7-footers. So if the NBA goes back to where 3-point shooting doesn't matter, I mean, boy, they're good to go. They got 3 7. Lively's good. Gafford's good. They got AD. They're really built to win against Jordan. But today, you need, like, I'm just thinking about teams that are just gonna space the floor, and you can't play some of these guys. Like AD's fine, but you're gonna play him with those other two. No, those other two are gonna sit. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me for really either team, because I understand the Lakers. You want to collect superstars. That's the NBA. But I just see LeBron doing very similar things to Luka. And how are they both going to play together? You could always have someone on the floor. That's great. But then what about when they play together? How's that going to work? Interesting to see what podcasting legend JJ Redick could come up with. We'll see. It is fascinating. Just a fascinating trade.
All right, Coach Johnson, you are still in the belly of the beast. Your team's doing well. You saw this come across your desk. What are you thinking as a coach?
I got a text from my AD last night at 12:45. I thought it was a joke. And then he said, no, Stephen Smith's on ESPN talking about it on SportsCenter. I turned to TV. I agree with Mike. I'm curious to see how this is going to work out in Los Angeles. They both dominate the ball. Luka and James, they dominate the ball. They have a lack of size as far as I'm concerned. Dallas, I think that's a good trade for them, actually, based on what their concerns were and are about Luka in terms of the weight, in terms of if he's worth $345 million down the road. Just a whole lot of things. It's interesting, and yes, you don't generally trade a 25-year-old world superstar, especially in the NBA. So I think there's more that's going to come out. I understand both he and AD were shocked when they found out the news. Completely shocked, as was everybody else. Just in general, when they heard about it. I think it's early to judge this trade, but the Lakers got more work to do for a complete team.
Okay. All right, Robert, you're our administrator. You keep things level for us. Before I chime in, any thoughts on the trade with Luka?
Well, we talk about it being a 3-team deal. The only reason the Jazz are involved is because that's what they had to do to make the money work. That's
yes.
it. Let's be honest. That's all that is. They're thrown in, they had to find somebody else to make all the money balance out. I think it's a terrible trade for the Lakers. I don't understand, Coach Johnson said, they both got to have the ball. LeBron is going to wind up guarding other teams' fours. Luka doesn't guard anybody. And now they're, the Lakers are undersized, and I seem to remember, and I could correct me if I'm wrong, LeBron didn't know about this.
No, he did not.
The Lakers made a trade to trading away AD, getting Luka without talking to LeBron. I find that probably the most fascinating piece of this whole thing, that they did not talk to LeBron about this, because, for all of the flack that LeBron gets on social media and everything, I mean, let's be honest, you're typically gonna talk to your guy, hey, we're thinking about doing this. And
if he didn't know,
if he didn't know,
then they clearly want to move on from the LeBron era and start the Luka era. In which case, now you build around Luka, and this trade isn't as bad. It's bad this year, but I think long term, this is like a bye LeBron. It was fun. We got Bronny. We're done though.
yeah. Well, and you know, and maybe who knows? Maybe LeBron, maybe he goes back to Cleveland one more time for a swan song. Take
I don't think
Bronny
they can
with
use
him.
him.
Who knows?
No, seriously. I don't see where, as great as he is, I do not see where he fits in Cleveland.
That team is so good as is. Why
It,
change
it
it?
really
Oh,
is.
it doesn't matter if the team's good. If LeBron said, "Hey, I want to come home," don't tell me that they wouldn't find a way to make that happen.
That's true. That is
All
so true.
right. So here are Dr. Adams' thoughts. As I've often said from Purple Rain, Billy and Purple Rain said, this is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet. And the CKA Save Project sees leadership in 4 different levels. Level 1 is direct. It's usually when you come into an organization and you got to tell everybody what to do and set a tone. Level 2 is when you have selected choice. How do you want to do it, this way or that way? Level 3 is what you really aspire to be, where you say, here's a situation. How best should we solve it? You provide situations, you provide check-ins, you provide all of these things, and everybody's mutually working. And then there's level 4, which is where we are with the NBA, where the employees tell the management how things are working, and that is not sustainable. So I am sure there was a meeting in Dallas and a question like, what is your ceiling with Luka came up. And if your ceiling is we can make it to the NBA finals, but we can't win, then that's not good enough. The NBA has a new collective bargaining agreement that is coming out, and it's going to change the way business gets done going forward and how and if players can still throw their weight around. Motivation, which I've studied for over 20,000 hours, is defined simply as your desire to act. And look at what guaranteed contracts are getting the NBA. And Jimmy Butler ain't helping. So I'm not saying that there's a shift and a change coming, but I'm saying there's a shift and a change coming. And here's how the shift and change happens. Let's go Bill or no Bill. Bradley Beal is the only non-LeBron player to have a no trades clause, and he got it from the Wizards. And Mike can tell you how we feel about the Wizards in the DC area, and it's making an impact. So the CBA, the new one, is going to be restrictive in so many nuanced and different ways. So Jimmy Butler can't be traded to the Phoenix Suns because Bradley Beal won't say this, that, the other. And you will not see no trade clauses anymore moving forward. You also have the Sacramento Kings dealing longtime point guard De'Aaron Fox because, again, the owners are simply not caring if the players feel bad or not. And one source told Fox's agent, Rich Paul, the Kings was given a courtesy to try to get the deal done. But the Kings are going to do what's best for the Kings.
Right.
And it seems like organizations are going to do what's best for organizations. You know Luka's not coming into shape. Luka's 25 with the opportunity to sign a $300 million contract, and he's already not hungry. So, again, money is not the elixir. And how's college sports looking right about now? So, Mike, with that being said, you've got the Bradley Beal situation, got the De'Aaron Fox situation, you got the Lakers making moves without LeBron, and I don't think they told. And Robert will tell you, management has a way of making you uncomfortable at the end of the day. And if you don't like it, there's 3 R's in management and education: refocus, relocate, or retire, because the ship's moving. Any thoughts to my reaction to the trade that at the end of the day we're talking about 5th and 6th place teams?
I think the NBA, they love to say you can't win a championship till you lose a championship. You can't get to a championship till you lose it. That's what we say, right? The Celtics weren't ready. Now they're ready. The Thunder aren't ready. They'll be ready. The Mavs just got there. Just got there. I think if the Lakers are able to then again move on from LeBron or retool, I think the Mavs will look back and be very upset. But as an OKC fan who controlled the Mavs pick swap in 4 years when AD and Kyrie are 700 years old, this could continue the OKC dynasty. So I'm good with that. I just don't understand. Like, I think the Mavs could have got more. The Thunder,
There's no doubt the Mavs could have got more,
Yes,
but
yes.
that's the point.
they just
I know I could get more, but I don't want to be in the Luka business anymore.
yeah. But if you call OKC, give me Chet and give me 5 first-round picks, they're gonna do it. And then you're gonna. It's just so weird. Weird trade. I can't think of any other trade in sports that like doesn't make sense like this one. I just don't get it.
Coach Johnson, final thoughts, sir.
Well, not only it doesn't make sense, but there's not many of the better teams I think would have wanted to make this trade. I couldn't see OKC giving up Chet and some of these other guys for Luka. Yes, he's going to put people in his seats. Yes, he's a great individual talent, but he's not going to make them better than what they currently
That's
have.
true.
And when you look at what they wanted from the Lakers, they only wanted across the NBA, they only wanted AD. That was it. They feel they have other pieces in place. And I tell you something, I think this is going to unleash Kyrie. I think the second half of the season, he's going to be dangerous. Again, I think it's a bad move for the Lakers. They really got some decisions, and I don't think their management, from Jenny Buss to Rob, is smart enough to fix this.
Robert, close us out, sir. What do you think? Final thoughts.
Well, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand the trade at all, and I agree with Coach Johnson that the really good teams in the NBA, they're not going to take Luka.
No.
Why are they going to take Luka? Doesn't make sense. He doesn't. I mean, he is a great individual talent. And he doesn't guard anybody. and at some point in the playoffs, you have to guard people.
And that's why, Mike, you're that close.
Yeah.
That's your ceiling. Because you saw when it was on the line, he ain't hard hedging. He ain't showing and coming back. He's not doing that. He ran right into the screen and shots up.
I mean, he's not going to do that because that's just, he doesn't have that. He has not shown that he has that in him. I'm not going to say he doesn't have it. He has not shown that he has it.
Neither does
Robert. He
Jokic.
comes in fat all the time. So money is not the elixir. We're paying you a lot of money to be in shape year round. And it's not important.
I think someone wrote a doctoral study that talked about intrinsic motivation. I'm just saying.
Jokic comes in out of shape and doesn't guard anybody either, and he's got a ring.
Yes. However, Dallas doesn't have a ring. Dallas doesn't have that ring with Luka, and basketball continues to evolve. And what did we say in the previous segment? Denver's window is probably closed in part because Jokic likes to enjoy the offseason, which nobody said don't do. But when your management doesn't make moves and keeps you sharp, keeps you focused, keeps that nail on, Coach Johnson can tell you, once your belly's full, it's done. And we got example after example after example of you're just not sharp anymore. I'm still shocked that Kansas City Chiefs are still sharp. They penciled through a regular season, but they're locked in now. So,
and what they've done, and we're not talking about the NFL really, but what the Chiefs have done, you want to talk about an organization that has figured out intrinsic motivation and culture and teamwork and all of those things. You know, They've figured all of that out, and people can badmouth the Chiefs all they want, but they have figured that out. And that's why they are where they are. And that's also why so many teams like the Nuggets never get there. Because
1 year wonders, baby. 1 year wonders. So when we get back, segment 3, WNBA are making some trades too. We'll talk about that, and we'll also see if our panel has peaked at unrivaled. And I have an officials question to ask Robert about Angel Reese. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful antidotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I got my panel riled up. It's segment 3, WNBA. So the 2025 WNBA offseason has been marked by star movement. 4 former all WNBA picks from the past 3 seasons have already changed teams. And here's some of it. And shout out to George Ockard. I think you can get through this. The Las Vegas Aces, the Los Angeles Sparks, and the Seattle Storm kicked off everything with a 3-team trade that sent Jewel Lloyd to the Aces, Kelsey Plum to the Sparks, hey George, via sign and trade, and a package of draft picks headlined by the number 2 pick in April's WNBA draft to the Storm. The Phoenix Mercury also made a blockbuster deal to land Alyssa Thomas from the Connecticut Sun 2 seasons after she finished runner-up in the MVP voting. And then the Mercury paired Thomas with Satu Sabale, who is like ridiculously talented, all NBA, all WNBA first team. So we also have the WNBA draft coming up. So a lot of big stars are going to come out. Paige is coming out. Olivia Miles is coming out. AZ Fudd's coming out. Sedona Prince is coming out. So which teams have put themselves in a position to compete for a championship? Coach Johnson, you also have coached women in the past.
No, I haven't.
You didn't?
I've never coached women.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No.
Have you seen a team in the WNBA that's like done something that you're like, okay, this is actually going to make something happen?
The Aces, first of all, because they really have a culture of winning. They do a great job. I think they put a lot of thought into this trade because Kelsey Plum was a huge part of what they've done. But again, the top teams in the WNBA to me remain the top teams because of the little things they do. But I think the Aces are still going to be back in the thick of things now after they lost last year. Liberty's going to be good based on returning personnel. It's going to be interesting to see. I am interested about Atlanta with Brittany Griner right now. I'm very interested in that because she seems motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing like a big 6'9" with skills, who's motivated to change some things around. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, Mr. King, any team catch your eye in terms of the moves they're making or positioning themselves to make?
I mean, give me the second pick in the draft. I had a player who didn't want to be there, who forced the trade, and I turned it into the second pick in the draft when these WNBA drafts are becoming more and more important because the college players are stars. So it's easy to market because now I'm marketing stars. It's not like it used to be where even when there were stars, you drafted someone who was like, okay, now there's eyes. So there's eyes in the college game, there's eyes in the WNBA game, and I get the number 2 pick. There's Kiki potentially. There's the two guards at Notre Dame. There's a 6'6" girl from France who potentially has the highest ceiling in the draft. Like, it's not like the Clark Reese draft in terms of what that did for the sport. I don't know if they'll ever have a draft like that, just because that's the first one. That's the big moment, like that got everyone paying attention. But this draft's got some talent, so give me the 2 pick. I'm going with the Storm.
All right, Robert. Anybody's move catch your eye?
Well, I like the Storm getting that number 2 pick, and I love me some Paige Buckets, but
She ain't gonna be there too, man.
well, and with her knees, I don't know if that's the way you want to go, because she's already she's on her 2nd or 3rd knee operation. I'm not sure. I have to say I like what the Indiana Fever have done. They got a new coach. Yeah. Last year they played with 5, basically. I mean, they had no bench whatsoever. They signed Natasha Howard. She has won games. She has won championships. And having her with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, that gives them some depth that they did not previously have. And I think that's going to help them a lot.
That is so true.
Yeah. And as I'm looking at some of the mock drafts, unlike the NBA, the WNBA gets to select college players who've been there 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So you're seeing that they're 22, 23 years old. So there's a level of maturity that, yeah, I do like what the Fever's doing, put a couple of old heads around some of the young players. But as we close this week, Unrivaled out there, and I'm excited that they're doing something. They're stateside, they're safe, they're in one location. But Angel Reese recently got ejected from a 3-on-3 on a full court game. So I asked our official, Robert, to take a look at the play and share his thoughts about it, because we can't be throwing people out of Unrivaled. I mean, what are you doing? Okay? So, Robert, talk to us, because there was a lot of noise about this. And I'm like, man, I hope Robert's on. So can you tell us what happened and your thoughts in your professional opinion?
So I watched the play, and it looked like she and the girl she was guarding were jawing back and forth at each other. And at one point during the play, Angel Reese, claps at her, claps in her face, and that's nothing. They're playing, let them play. Girl goes to the basket, goes down, it's a foul. Okay, first let's start with that. Girl going down is clearly a foul, and Angel Reese did not think it was a foul, so she waved off the official. Okay, if you do that, you're getting whacked. That's it. You're getting whacked if you do that. So official goes and reports it. Another official comes in and is talking to her and trying to get her basically to stop. And she's not stopping. For whatever reason, she got hotter as opposed to coming down. Most of the time you give a technical foul, people will come down. And I will say that, in a dead ball situation like that, you're not going to give you're not going to get 2 in a row unless what you're doing is so far beyond the pale that there's no choice. So I don't know what she said. She was clearly fired up, and they felt like it was time to go. So that's all I got. I don't know.
All right. So now on the flip side, Coach Johnson, all of that's going on. How's Coach Johnson handling that?
Well, I've had some young men get fired up at times about things, and you really tell them, listen, shut up. Shut up. It's over. Shut up. But again, I think Angel Reese also, by reputation, they're watching her for things like this.
It's Unrivaled. Coach.
I understand, and that's the problem because it is unrivaled. Like you said, they're kicking her out of one of these games.
What are you doing?
Well, and I think Coach Johnson makes a great point. Where is her coach? Where is someone else on the team telling her, "Hey,
Yes.
shut the hell up"?
Right, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Shut up. We don't need that right now. It's over with.
It's 3-on-3 full court. Why are we getting text?
Exactly.
Mike, you're my regular guy. I hope your daughters are watching Unrivaled. Probably not. But you saw the play. What are you thinking from your perspective as a regular fan and girl dad extraordinaire?
It's not you don't throw her out of the game. The sport exists to bring eyes to the game.
Right.
She's one of the people are watching. You don't throw her out of the game. She didn't make contact with you. She went like this.
So, Robin, I have to ask because Coach Adams, very similar to Mike, even though somebody should have come over. So, yes, Coach Johnson, you're right. But, we're trying to build this brand. We have people paying money to come on in. When does it happen that the officials stop the officials from doing that and somebody coming over to the officials? Because I have seen that as well. Joe, do your diagonal and go to the other side or walk away. So how does that dance work?
Well, and most of the time what you're talking about, it's you don't want the same person to give both technicals. So a lot of times, you'll have somebody give a coach a technical, and I always teach and I always preach and I talk in my pregame. Hey, if you give a technical foul, go find somebody to talk to. Don't stay there. Go find somebody to talk to. Tell them what you've got. Talk your way through it. And then we go administer the technical. And if I'm on a crew and somebody gives a technical, I say, you go over there, okay, away from the benches so you're not talking to anybody. And if I give the technical, and as a general rule, I don't give I think I gave 2 technical fouls last season. And I haven't worked hardly at all this year because I've been injured, but I haven't given any technical fouls this year. I don't give them very often. I try to talk my way out of them. But if I give one, I go put myself in timeout. I go on the other side, okay? And I tell my crew before a game, if you whack a coach, don't go talk to them. Don't go talk to them. Because coaches are grown-ups and they know what they did. So you don't need to go explain to them what they did to get the technical foul. They know. And the only thing you need to tell them if it's a high school game is, Coach, you don't have your box anymore. You got to sit. So that it would have been nice not to give her 2 technical fouls. It looked like on the film it came from 2 different officials, but somebody needed to get to Angel Reese and say, "Hey, cut it out." Right. That's probably the biggest thing.
All right. I love education. This is awesome. All right. So on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we'll see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care. And we didn't pay to see you. We paid to see her.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram @OddCoaches.
Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the iCoaches Podcast.